Kerem Bürsin's love story. First the denial, then the ring in plain sight. Kerem Bürsin's surprise romance. First he denied it, then the ring was revealed. Hello friends, welcome to Turkish series stars. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and show your support, it means the world. Today we're unpacking a topic that's been setting timelines on fire and splitting fandoms clean down the middle. That romance everyone insists they can read in a single glance. Yes, you guessed it. Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu. And of course, there's a classic, cool-headed Barış twist to it all. He shrugs off the whispers with a breezy I don't know, follows a certain account that sets alarms ringing, slips a ring onto Elçin's finger, and the two of them end up in a photo that looks anything but coincidental. If you're ready, grab a coffee, get comfy, and let's trace the contours of this story together, detail by detail, heartbeat by heartbeat. From I don't know to I don't know, the dance began in the most modern way, a micro-gesture online that detonated like a headline. A casual question about the rumors reached Barış, and he parried it with that effortless charm, I don't know. Not about who Elçin is, of course, no one could pretend they don't know her, but about what everyone was hinting at, about the kind of closeness fans believed they were seeing. The answer was brisk, crisp, and neat enough to pass for closure. But then the tempo shifted. In the quicksilver world of social media, nothing stays still, and suddenly he was following Elçin's new lifestyle account, yes, that low-key page she launched to share minimalist interiors, coffee rituals, and those grainy sunset clips. That follow was a spark, and the comment sections lit up like matchstick fields. Classic Barış, some said with a grin, as if they'd been expecting the plot all along. He keeps it quiet, then drops a breadcrumb and lets us do the rest. Others were more skeptical. Is this a soft open, or are we all reading way too much into a double tap and a follow? The timeline split into teams, the jokes multiplied, and edits flooded in with throwback clips. It wasn't long before the theories snowballed. A short video appeared on Elçin's feed, airy and unbothered, the kind that seems to reveal nothing. But there it was. The way her hand lifted into the light, the camera catching a ring that wasn't part of her usual jewelry rotation. The ring didn't shout, it glowed. And the second it did, hashtags wrote themselves. The avalanche of comments that followed could have filled an archive. Is that his? Tell me this is Barış's ring. You can't hide that kind of sparkle. He said I don't know, then this? You can't script it better. By nightfall, the clip had been dissected frame by frame. Fans zoomed, paused, enhanced, compared. They noted the curve of the band, the masculine simplicity, the exact tone of the metal. In a blink, the ring became the story, not a prop, not an accessory, but a signal. Tabloids pivoted. Headlines swapped question marks for exclamation points. It was the first solid thread the public could actually grasp. From there, every post carried a new weight. Her mirror selfies were studied the way one studies a film still. A shelf in the background could stir debate. He shared a candid shot from a kitchen nobody recognized at first, and a few watchers swore it matched a countertop glimpsed in her daytime video. The cross-referencing was relentless. Does the window light match? Is that the same plant? When did he get that kettle? Didn't she post coffee foam at the same hour? And then, as if to punctuate the speculation, came the picture. No official caption, no tag, just a relaxed moment caught between them. A smile he didn't quite suppress, a look from her that pooled with warmth, and yes, the ring again, subtle but absolutely there, as if memory itself had a shimmer. The chorus grew louder, after that ring, who even doubts anymore? They're not hiding, they're just not narrating. Typical Barış style, let the image talk. TikTok got busy. Instagram rolled out story polls by the minute. Twitter turned into a newsroom operated by romantics who document everything and believe even more. People built timelines of their online footsteps, stitched together old interviews with new glances, argued over whether the ring was his signature piece or a new gift. Even those who swore they wouldn't get pulled into this kind of thing found themselves watching, replaying, sharing. There's a pattern in show business that some hearts were like a trademark. With Barış, the audience sees a choreography they think they know. A denial that functions as a curtain, a breadcrumb that lures the eye, then a tableau that tells everyone exactly what they came to find. With Elçin, the clues move in a different rhythm, soft, luminous, almost daydreamed, until the moment she lets the truth land without a drumroll. Together, the cadence felt inevitable. He downplayed, she posted, he followed, they appeared in the same light, the ring glinted like a quiet confession. The fandom split not because anyone disliked the idea, but because the speed of it all made some hearts dizzy. One side whispered, they're so well matched it's almost too perfect. The other worried, how did we get here so fast? Past traces and present beginnings sit side by side in their story. For years, both have lived under the lens, framed by projects that turned them into household names and a pairing that many fans never stopped believing in. The personal timelines they never fully shared, they kept those close, guarded with a grace that always set them apart. But even the most private figures can drift through uncertain chapters. Whispers spoke of endings that arrived quietly, of doors eased shut rather than slammed, of a need for steady ground. Then came a season of late-night conversations, long walks between set calls, the kind of laughter that doesn't need an audience. Even those who don't believe in timing had to admit. Sometimes two paths decide to meet again when both are ready to be walked. If the ring was only jewelry, no one would care. But a ring, in the theater of public love, reads like a declaration. The design mattered less than placement and context. On her hand, framed in a soft wash of afternoon light, it transformed from metal into meaning. People assumed the video was shot at his place. There were hints in the background that insiders pounced on. A framed print that showed up once before. A chair style that matched an earlier photo. Enough to convince the watchful that this wasn't an accident. By then, the consensus was practically unanimous, this is real. There's love here, and it stopped asking for permission to exist. The timeline filled with punchlines and poetry in equal measure. Barış's logic, I don't know until the ring knows. Elçin said everything without saying a word. They're not hiding, they're savoring. TikTok edits moved from nostalgic to celebratory. Instagram reels turned into mood boards of their energy, coffee foam swirling into a heart, through the window sunlight, street corners that felt like familiar scenes rewritten. Even the skeptics swayed a little, the way one leans toward a melody they didn't expect to hum. Analysis threads teased apart every angle, the date of the follow, the hour of the post, the side of the city hinted by a skyline. Somewhere in the noise, a quiet truth kept humming. It's not the data that persuades us, it's the way two people soften when they share the frame. Of course, this is show business. Every romance that steps into the limelight gets fitted for a second narrative. Is this love or a strategy? A PR plot or a heartbeat? Here at Turkish series Stars, we've learned to read the room, and the room, right now, feels more like Sunday mornings than red carpets. Denial as a reflex, sure. Presentation as an art, maybe. But the ring. Paired with unguarded looks, the easy shared space, the unfussy timing, feels like something warmer than marketing. It looks like two people who stopped worrying about giving everyone a headline and decided to keep only the parts that felt like home. Friends close to Barış say the same sentence in different ways. He's turned a page and isn't interested in flipping back. They say he's been chasing quiet lately. Quiet dinners, quiet neighborhoods, quieter mornings that start with music instead of alarms. Those who love Elçin talk about how different her laugh sounds, like it's sitting in a soft chair instead of perching on the edge of a bar stool. They say she's found someone who hears the spaces between her sentences. And isn't that what we all look for in the end? Not an announcement, not a spectacle, someone who knows the backstage and loves the sound check as much as the show. Still, the machinery of attention isn't built to slow down. The ring and the follow and the too casual photo turned into a full-fledged trend, their names floating across platforms like confetti. People compared the arc to the roles that made them icons, wondered whether fiction had predicted this gesture or if real life had slipped into a familiar costume. The best romances do that, they fold the script into the day and let us believe it was always meant to be. What makes this chapter feel different is its patience. Even the "I don't know" felt more like a hand over a candle than a bucket of water. He didn't deny her, he denied the need to label something while it was still choosing its shape. And when the time came, the gesture was small, almost domestic. Not a red carpet. Not an interview. A ring that looked warm from being worn, framed in a casual clip that no one would have noticed if they weren't already watching. The message wasn't "look at us." It was "here we are." It's easy to forget how intense the pressure can be when two faces live in the public's eye. A love that's barely begun can feel like a city with no speed limit. Maybe that's why they let the story tell itself in fragments, leaving room for doubt and wonder to share a bench. Maybe that's why one follow mattered so much. It said, "I'm looking," which might be the most tender admission of all. And the ring? It didn't ask a question, and it didn't answer one. It simply existed, like the steady part of a heartbeat you only notice after the excitement fades. Some fans still whisper their concerns. Are we moving too fast? Doesn't lightning burn where it lands? But others counter with the calmer truth. Speed is relative when two people have already lived full lives under the same constellation. They've shared stages and cameras, learned each other's rhythms without ever having to name them. It's not so much a race as it is a return. A returning to where a certain kind of laughter lives, where a certain look makes sentences unnecessary, where home isn't a place but a person who remembers your favorite way to be quiet. And yes, there's always going to be that voice in the room that calls everything calculation. It's the internet, it's never not present. But if you listen closely, you'll hear another voice more persuasive than algorithms. It's the voice that notices how the shoulders drop, how the eyes soften, how two people fit into the same frame without crowding it. Strategy can burn bright. Love tends to glow. One disappears when the camera cuts, the other lingers like the aftertaste of something sweet. In the end, the narrative wrote itself using the simplest vocabulary: a coy "I don't know," a conspicuous follow, a ring in the right light, and a photo that looked like it was taken for them, not for us. The rest is commentary, and commentary is loud. But between those notes, there's a gentler song that fans already know how to hum. If there's a plan, it's the oldest one in the world: protect what matters, share what feels safe, and let the things you can't hide become the story you no longer mind being told. So, friends, that's the arc we traced today at Turkish series Stars. How a subtle denial turned into a shared moment, how a simple follow sparked a city-wide conversation, how a ring transformed from metal into meaning, and how two beloved names made room for a softer truth. Do you think the classic "deny first, then let love speak" approach worked for Barış's Ardak this time? Did Elçin Sangu's quiet glow say more than any caption could? Drop your thoughts below, argue your theories, and tell us the exact frame where you think the story wrote itself. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Turkish series Stars, and tap the bell so you're first to know when the next chapter arrives. Until then, keep your hearts open and your notifications on. We'll be here, listening for the moment the next ring catches the light.